welcome back to my channel. My name is Bethany if you're new here, and I am so excited to be talking about this today. But before I get into the video, I just want to let you guys know that we had an awesome time on Halloween, and I hope you had a good night as well. If you want to know what we got up to, it was my daughter's first time trick-or-treating, and so it was really fun. So if you want to go to my vlog channel called Luke and Bethany and check out my latest vlog, I show you guys what we got up to on Halloween. It was a really fun night. So yeah, before I get into the video, I'm going to be talking about things I wish I knew before I had my C-section. Now, my C-section wasn't planned, okay? Like, it definitely wasn't, but it also wasn't like a super emergency. And just a disclaimer before I start is that everybody's experience is different. There are some things that are obviously similar to other people's experiences. I think mine, and compared to some other people's, is gonna be different because I'm a different body and I have a different baby than other people. So just a disclaimer, your experience might not be identical to mine, but yeah, let's just get straight into the video. So I actually had my daughter a little while ago. It's been over a year, and I just really wanted to make this video so that other people who possibly have a planned C-section or just might want to know what kind of happens or what to kind of expect when you do a C-section as opposed to having a vaginal birth. I feel like some of these things are still really fresh in my mind. I honestly could say that I had a pretty decent experience with my C-section. My daughter Brielle was actually breech, and I didn't actually find out until I was in labor in the hospital and they were doing an ultrasound because I was having some bleeding, which was abnormal, and they needed to check where, you know, everything was positioned. The vaginal labor was basically or delivery was basically off the table in my mind, and I was like, no, let's just do the C-section, let's do it. And they had originally scheduled it for 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now this was about 7 a.m. and I was like, 4 o'clock? Like, I'm in full-blown labor here. I don't want to wait till 4 o'clock. So they checked me a couple more times after we had kind of scheduled the C-section, and I was progressing quite quickly, and so they had to actually bump up the C-section to earlier in the day. So it wasn't a super emergency, but it wasn't like a low-key C-section. It wasn't planned, and so it's kind of that in-between, not emergency, not planned, but just it's time to get this baby out. So I was pretty apprehensive, to be honest with you. I was really looking forward to having a natural birth. I quickly, you know, kind of dissolved that idea that that was gonna happen for me, and I was just like, okay, no, let's just do it, let's just get her out. I just want her to be happy and healthy and everything to be okay. So once we kind of decided that that's what we were gonna do, I was given an IV, which is pretty standard. Even if you do have a natural delivery, a lot of people get IVs, and so that wasn't too bad. So that's something that you can expect. You will have needles in your body. And so that's one thing that I would just be prepared for if that's something you're uncomfortable with. But yeah, I was basically prepped for surgery. They put an IV in me, and then they actually asked Luke to put on like full scrubs and everything, and he had like a cap on and like things on his shoes and stuff. So that's pretty standard as well. So I only was allowed one significant other in the hospital that I was in, which was totally fine. Luke was only there anyway, so it worked out. So basically I walked into the OR. I had like my gown on and everything. I already was in that when I was in labor anyway. So they basically just walked me into the OR, and I just sat on the table waiting for them to give me my spinal. I was basically just sitting on the table breathing through contractions because I was still in active labor, and there was actually a student there basically being taught how to give spinals. So what happened was they gave me a shot of anesthesia first in my back, which actually wasn't too painful at all. I was breathing through a contraction, so it felt like nothing. I was just concentrating on getting through that contraction. With the spinal, I remember them saying, because I couldn't feel it, which I'm really thankful for, but they tried 3 times to get it in. The student couldn't get it on the first try, so that kind of sucked, but it was fine. I didn't feel it, so that was okay. And so then they just laid me down on the table, and I had my arms stretched out to the side, and then they put a curtain right in front of me so I couldn't see anything, which I'm thankful for because I don't think I would have wanted to watch anyway. It was a really weird sensation. So once I became quite frozen, I could feel pressure. I could feel people touching me, but I felt no pain or like anything like that. It was really weird, but basically I could feel them tugging and pulling on my body, and that really wasn't the best feeling. It didn't hurt, don't mind you. It was just intense pressure. You know, I'm not a big person, but I was jerking quite a bit on the table when at the final moments before Brielle was born. I actually didn't need any oxygen. I didn't have anything on my head or anything. I was very aware and very awake. And so I remember everything, which I'm really, really thankful for, that I was able to have that. So basically there's just so much like tugging and pulling, and that's what is basically universal when you have a C-section. That's the kind of sensation you feel. Luke was actually able to see Brielle being born, and she was actually still born in her amniotic sac, which is like pretty crazy. It's actually like not as common as you think, but yeah, and then they broke the water and she took her first breath, which is pretty cool. After Brielle was born, they came in, showed her to me around the corner as soon as she was born, and then they asked Luke to come over and they kind of cleaned her up and everything, and then they put her directly onto my chest, which I'm really thankful that they did at my hospital. They made sure that there was immediate skin to skin, which was great. And so when they were cleaning me up and everything, stitching me up, they whisked Brielle and Luke away so that they could do skin to skin, which was great, and I'm really thankful for that. So basically they stitched me up and everything, and then they like lifted me up on this like weird like mechanical lift to lift me up onto like a hospital bed, which was actually like pretty cool. Yeah, so then they whisked me off to a recovery room where I got to do immediate skin to skin with Brielle. We tried breastfeeding, and I was in there for about an hour, and then I was whisked away after that to the mother and baby ward where, you know, my parents and Luke's parents were waiting. And so it actually was a decent experience. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't do it again. I did feel pretty nauseous after. I was shaking quite a bit. I was pretty pale. It took everything out of me. It actually, you lose quite a bit of blood. I think it's about around an average about a liter of blood. That's what they told me. I was feeling quite dizzy and whatnot, which is normal, but I was very, very exhausted after. Even though I hadn't, you know, given birth naturally, I still had that, you know, that labor. I was in labor for about 9 hours before I actually had Brielle. So I got to experience that part of labor, which was good. I'm actually glad that I was able to experience that. The recovery was difficult, don't get me wrong. It hurt to laugh, it hurt to sneeze, was so painful because all those muscles down there are really sore because they do pull your abs apart to get to the baby. And so that was really difficult. It was very, very painful, and I didn't feel normal until about 3 months after the C-section, which was tough. After you have your C-section, you don't realize that your bladder and your internal organs are moved around. They do have to take some of them out and put them back in. And my bladder was one of those things that definitely took a beating. You know, with the surgery, it was moved and then put back. And so it definitely, even now, I still have some pain when I urinate. Not in like my urethra, but in my bladder. I definitely can't hold as much, and which is frustrating because I can go hours before going to the bathroom. If anyone knows, after you have babies, your peeing is just different, okay? No matter what kind of birth you had. And so I definitely still have some bladder tenderness because of that, which sucks, but it's just something that I have just grown to deal with. So I really, really hope that this video helped you guys in some ways in preparing for birth if you're pregnant or you're just curious about my C-section story. Just want to put it out there, you guys, whatever birth that you have, you guys are warriors, you're great moms, and there is no shame in having a C-section. I had a great experience, as well as it could have gone, and I am more than happy to share my experience with you. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.